Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good following morning, and Happy New Year's to the following morning, people. This is AMA number 41. 41. It is, and today I know the date, December 31st, New Year's Eve. Little bit dressed up for you guys today, since of course there's not any real celebrating going on, but I thought I'd try to class it up a little with my snazzy velvet smoking jacket. Today we have a very, very special guest, a good friend, a wonderful young Jewish leader in Poland, Olga Adamowska, will be joining in a few minutes and talking. She's a very interesting, Orthodox, feminist, interesting thing. We're gonna get into that a little bit if there's any, the sort of how that works together. Say some good morning, Jeffrey Rolat in Boca. Jeffrey, long time no speak. Benji also, oh, you're so sweet, Benji. Benji, are you just being a little bit of a kiss ass? So I'll plug your New Year's Eve special tonight, which, by the way, put it in the comments, please, Benji. We always want to plug the official comedian of JCC Krakow, Benji Lovett. I hereby declare that we are the first JCC in the world to have an official comedian. Benji might not be aware of that, but he is in. So welcome, Benji. Mazel tov. You're the world's first JCC specific comedian. It doesn't mean you can't perform for other people. We will allow you. You do say I'm handsome every week. That's true, Benji, in a certain way. Thank you, Benji. I feel very loved during my AMA, which is probably why I've done it 41 weeks in a row. 41 weeks. Now, something interesting I had to look up as we do a sort of a year-end summary today of our of the AMA, something that just sort of started on a lark. And this is how I keep track of how long Corona has been going. So 41 weeks at least. But we try to keep things in a gender balanced. The world is obviously very, very skewed toward men and everything being kind of male dominated. So we want to help right things and push things on the right track. So we try to find some balance. And I'm proud to say that I had the team look it up, and we've had so far 40 guests. Not every week had a guest. A couple weeks had 2 guests. Anyway, we've had 40 guests, and it's been 20 men and 20 women. And Olga will be our last guest of 2020, and she will be the 21st woman. So we've done, I don't know if we've done a good job with many things, but we have done a good job with that. Marcel Zielinski, happy Goyish New Year from Montreal. Exactly. Happy Goyish New Year. Happy Goyish New Year to all. Hope you and Marilla are well. Marcel, we miss you. It's always good to see you. It makes me feel very, very good. Benji, did I ever ask your gender? No, Benji, I don't think we knew. I didn't think I know you that well to ask. I thought, Benji, to be honest, I thought I would figure it out on my own. But sadly, Benji, I've yet to come to that understanding. But hopefully one of these days, Benji, I will. Sita, hello, good morning, Sita. My dad is watching. Yes, I was waiting for my dad to watch because, dun, 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 it's my dad's birthday today. So happy birthday, Dad. I will also mention my dad when I talk about my New Year's resolution. One of my New Year's resolutions does involve my dad. Now, my dad's birthday today, anyone know how old my dad is? My dad is 85. My dad born in 1935. Now, what's interesting is that my dad actually celebrates 3 birthdays. So why does he celebrate 3 birthdays? First of all, he should be celebrating really 2 birthdays. 2 birthdays is one, his Hebrew birthday, and his Gregorian/Goyish birthday. But he celebrates his birthday on December 30th and December 31st. Why? Because his birth certificate says December 31st, but his mom claimed he was born before midnight, and they were just kind of lazy and wrote in the 31st, although he was really born on the 30th, or vice versa. One of those, we always get confused. So my dad actually celebrates the 30th and the 31st. So happy birthday, Dad. I'm sorry that I'm not there in person, but it's good to be able to transmit this way. Happy New Year, Saul, from a rainy New York. Happy New Year to you, Saul, one of our leading fans here of the AMA. Chuck, hi, Chuck. How are you, Chuck? Happy New Year to Chuck. Benji says, I identify as Shudrik. So that means you identify as the most manly of men. I will interpret that clearly that's what that means. So we've gone through this. I'll talk about something that was on my mind a little bit that's interesting to me, that Americans don't always realize, but American Jews probably do if they've spent New Year's in Israel. So in the United States and in many countries, New Year's is, of course, New Year's Eve. In Israel, New Year's Eve, December 31st, not really called New Year's exactly, because we have Rosh Hashanah, the literally head of the year, but the New Year. So what do they call New Year's in Israel? But not only Israel, also in Poland and Austria and many countries around Europe, they call it Sylvester. Why do they call it Sylvester? Who was Sylvester? Sylvester was a saint. He was a pope in the 4th century. And in the Catholic world, the saints have a day. So there's a different, every day of the year is assigned to a different saint. Some saints have more than one day. It gets a little complicated. And people in Poland, for example, Catholic Poles will have a birthday, which is the day of their birth, clearly. And they will have a names day, which means the saint that they're named after, because every Polish name traditionally corresponds to a saint, will celebrate that day as well. So if your name is Christina, you'll celebrate your birthday as Christina, and you will celebrate Christina's names day, which corresponds to that saint Christina. So Saint Sylvester had his day is December 31st, and in the world it was considered, they call it today Sylvester. Now, why is that ironic from Israel? It's particularly ironic because he was generally considered to be an anti-Semitic pope. Why was he anti-Semitic? Well, he was a very famous pope and / saint. Not all popes are saints, and not all saints are popes, but he happens to be a pope and a saint. He was the one in the 4th century who converted Constantine, which meant that he really turned the Roman Empire Catholic, which is a big deal because the Roman Empire, with its influence all around the world, then the world sort of became Christian through Constantine. He was the first emperor to be baptized and become Christian, but also Saint Sylvester is known for that, and also for from the anti-Semitic point of view, because there clearly needs to be some anti-Semitic angle here. He convinced the Pope not to let Jews live in Jerusalem. So we don't like that. We as Jews that have been living in Jerusalem for a couple thousand years, a few thousand years, didn't like that. So that's why it's very ironic that New Year's Eve, Goyish New Year's Eve, as Marcel called it, is called Sylvester in Israel and also here in Poland. But that being said, Meirav, my good friend, my kibbutz sister, as we say, my family, my adopted family from my kibbutz, my very close friend. Happy New Year to you, Meirav. I'm sure there won't be a party at the kibbutz, the date packing house, as there usually was back in the day. I remember very fairly. Łukasz, Happy New Year to you. Jeffrey knows the story of Sylvester as someone else who has Polish, Israeli, and American citizenship like me. So that's the interesting aspect of Sylvester. These AMAs aren't fun; they're educational. Well, I do hope they are educational, Benji. As you do, Benji, I consider myself a and a educator. You are a comedian / educator. I am a not sure exactly what I am / educator. Not sure about the educator part either, but I am a / So there we go. Resilience, joy, and vaccine from Anna Panek in Brazil. Absolutely. From your mouth to the flying spaghetti monster's ears from your mouth to God's ears. New Year's resolutions, something I'm not usually big on, but this year have some New Year's resolutions. I will be nice to my dad. I will make more of an effort to be nice to my dad. I will torture him slightly less about religion. My dad and I like to get into it a little bit because he's a little bit more religious than I am, which means he's religious and I'm a complete atheist. But he hasn't given up on me yet. Keep trying, Dad. This could be the year. But considering, Dad, you are my one surviving parent due to the loss of my mom not too long ago, I will be extra nice to my dad. I will be nice to Kasha, the long-suffering Kasha. Although I feel I am pretty nice to Kasha, I will be even nicer to Kasha, and I will be nice to my staff, to the great, amazing team we have here at the JCC. Not saying, again, not in any sense admitting that I'm not nice to anybody, but I feel that as a New Year's resolution, I don't have too many things to give up. I don't really eat that much bad food, vegetarian, I work out, I don't drink, I don't smoke, no caffeine. So I can't really quit too many things. but I will try to be nicer to people. I can, and believe it or not, you might be surprised by this, AMA fans, I can be a rather direct, intense person. Sometimes that can be a little difficult, so I will try to be a little bit nicer and more tolerant, and probably more patient would be good. Those will be my my New Year's resolutions. For me, New Year's is always very tied to my birthday. My birthday is January 3rd. Luckily, this year is not a big birthday. It's 51. Last year was the trauma of 50. And this year, for the first time in many, many years, I think Kasia and I think 10 years, almost 10 years, Kasia and I, for my birthday, for New Year's, will be in Poland. We, for many years, went to Israel. We went to, we were in Morocco. Last year was Egypt. We always go someplace warm. This year, because of the situation, we will stay here and just be here for that. So we have a lot of extra warm vacation time that we'll be taking once we can. So there you go. I see Kasha's watching. Kasha, if you heard anything about me being nicer, that was just kidding. Glynis, hey Glynis, happy and a safe 2021 to you. Very, very good to see you. Jared, Dr. Jared Lacourt, direct and impatient? Me? No, I'm not direct, nor am I impatient. I'm not necessarily that direct for Americans and for American Jews. In Poland, I'm very direct. Poland is a slightly less direct country. But it is 14 minutes in, enough of me blabbing. Time for me to get to my guest. I'm very excited. It was the idea that I could finish this year with today's guest. She is really a model JCC Krakow member. Olga Adamowska is an activist. She moved to Krakow a while ago. She came upon her Jewish journey at a certain point as a teenager, and now is just one of the sort of leading Jews in our community. I will let her in, and I'm excited to talk to her and really want to get into it. And my dad will appreciate this. Olga is observant. She is shomer mitzvot, shomer Shabbat, and a feminist, and that's something that is intriguing to me. I think a very complicated aspect of her identity, and I'm interested in discussing, among other things, discussing that. So, hello, Olga. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
Oh, I don't hear you, Olga. That could be me.
Oh.
Now I hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
You see, it's a miracle. Hi.
Hi. How you doing, Olga?
I'm fine. Yeah, so I'm ready for the new year.
I see that you look like you have a little bit of a festive party atmosphere going. We're dressed up a little bit, get the earrings, get the nice...
Yeah, the best party at my home.
Nice New Year's party. I hope you won't be having hundreds of people.
Yeah.
No.
No. Not this year.
Olga, so a little bit, I want to just talk a little bit about background stuff, not to get too into it. We've talked many times about the whole narrative, finding out you're Jewish and you didn't know. I don't want to get so much into that. There's some other things I want to talk to you about more current, but I just want to get people maybe up to date, sort of a little bit about your background. So where are you from? You're not from Krakow.
I'm not from Krakow. I moved to Krakow for my studies, but I was born in Bielsko-Biała, and it's a not so small city, closer to Oświęcim.
Now, is it true that Bielsko and Biała used to be separate cities?
Of course, yes, until 1951. Yeah, two separate cities.
Are you from?
And Bielsko? I'm from Biała.
From Biała. Now, also, and I'm not sure because I remember once we did a JCC trip, and we did go, I think, to the cemetery. Didn't we go to the Jewish cemetery in Bielsko-Biała or no?
Yeah. Once we had this trip, if I could remember. Even twice, I think our members went to the Bielsko and they visited Jewish cemetery. It's very beautiful. Yeah, it's amazing.
And tell me something, because wasn't it that one of the cities, Bielsko or Biała, one was the more religious, one was the less religious?
No, it's like we had like two synagogues for sure in Bielsko and in Biała when they were separate. And two of them they were like destroyed. So we don't have any synagogue right now, but we have still buildings which belongs before the war to the Jewish community. And the community, what I know, it's not so big, but exists in Bielsko, and it's still doing a lot of things. And then it's like a prayer room inside the gmina, the Jewish congregation. but we don't have a synagogue. So it's a place where was like very nice, beautiful synagogue. And what I know, the Jews in Bielsko, they were not so Orthodox because there are also
neither. So you don't know that I'm misremembering maybe that in either Bielsko or Biała, there were more. One of them they were more Orthodox, and one they were less Orthodox. You don't remember that? You don't.
I don't remember, but what I know that the community inside Bielsko was like a mix, like Jewish and German. So probably the German influence was big. So I think that that it wasn't so Orthodox. And also you need to know that my family is not originally from Bielsko. I was born there, but
Krakow.
Yeah, yes, like my roots are from Krakow. So yeah.
Very good. And as a true Krakowianka, as a true woman from Krakow, you have to say, when I try to say you're from somewhere else, you may have been born in Bielsko, but your family from Krakow, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And still it's Galicia. You know, if you can choose Bielsko or Krakow, it's still Galicia. So the same roots still.
So you during your childhood, you found out you were Jewish. You knew you were Jewish. I don't mean to tell your story, but just to sort of move a little bit ahead, you knew, but you weren't. There wasn't that much to do in Bielsko. You came to Krakow. You started your studies, and you got involved with the community. Now, I want to talk a little bit about first of all about your studies, and also after we'll have a little time about your. I want to talk about you as an observant Jew in Krakow, a young observant woman, a Jewish woman in Krakow, but. So a little bit about your studies, because that's interesting to me. So now, I mean, your studies were your regular studies, but now you're completing your doctorate. And what is the subject?
So I finished my PhD studies, but I didn't defend my PhD, so I'm still not PhD.
You finished writing it? You're still writing?
I'm still working on this. So my subject is about Holocaust and pop culture, and when I start my studies, my PhD studies, I choose another topic, and was about a woman, Jewish woman. And during first year, if I could remember, I decided to change the topic, mostly because then I also start educate young people, and I saw that like Holocaust, it's not a topic that they understand what happened, and so I knew that we need to change something, how we teach about Holocaust and about history. And they start using something what is very easier to understand to young people, like comic books or movies. And this is how it happened, and it starts. So this is why I'm working on the Holocaust and pop culture.
So you felt that maybe pop culture itself was a tool for you to teach in the different activities that you're doing, and we'll talk about Mifkash and all this. So
yes,
and then that got you interested in the way that the Holocaust was portrayed in pop culture, and that became your PhD.
Exactly.
So are you focused on the Holocaust and pop culture in Poland or across the world?
General. So it's like everything, you know, what I can find, and it's like, you know, from States, from Poland, from Israel, from Japan, everything, you know, it's very interesting for me. Maybe I'm not using everything, but still it's like, you know, good to know what's going on. And every time I think that, okay, it's enough, it can do more. And then I finding out that, you know, people decide to make another movie with the Hitler on the dinosaur. So it's shocking sometimes.
And not for any particular period, right? You're talking about just up to the present, right? You're not focusing on between 1962 and 1975 or something.
Exactly. I'm starting with things from 1940. So it's like just beginning until today. So, you know, it's still, we didn't finish.
It sounds like such a broad topic to me. It's interesting to me. You know, usually PhDs are something very, very deep, but very narrow. And this to me sounds like your topic sounds to me. And again, I'm not an expert in the academic, world exactly, but it sounds to me something that's quite broad for a topic.
Yeah, it's like a little bit difficult also because not so many people work on this topic before. So, I need to find everything, and sometimes like small things and some advertisement, and then comic books, and like, you know, sometimes difficult to find the materials because they are, for example, in States, or they are, for example, in Israel. So it's not easy to find it in Poland. So it's maybe more challenging, but still it's like, I think, it's like deep topic, and I finished my. I was focused until 2017, and then the rest is like the something what I can add to my PhD, but still I finished my research until 2017. So this is like the period.
I see. And how is it? How is it being a Jew and focusing on the Holocaust for your studies? I mean, how do you think it's different, your approach to how it would be if you weren't Jewish? In other words, is it more difficult for you to focus on it because it's affected you directly, personally in such a way, especially as a Polish Jew?
So yes and no. No, because I don't think so that it's like I think people who decide to be focused on their studies about Holocaust, you need to have,
distance.
Yeah, still, like because it's very difficult to think about this, to read about this, what happened, and and be not upset all the time. So it's like the first thing, and still, if you want to see how it's my perspective, because I'm Polish Jew, it's like very difficult, because if you're a Polish Jew, like this is my feeling that I'm still living in the shadow of the Holocaust, that people who are coming to Poland, and I felt this many times, they are focused so much about Holocaust. So my PhD is about Holocaust, but I'm trying also show in my what I'm doing when I'm educate, I'm trying to show something else, not only Holocaust, but also the Jewish life. So this is two different. Like, this is difficult, because this is my PhD and this is life, and sometimes I'm feeling that I have this feeling that people, pushing me to the Holocaust, and they are so interested about what happened to my family, what happened in Poland, how we can live here, and it's like you can be not focused on your PhD and Holocaust, but still you need to be pushing to Holocaust and to the history. So it's this part is difficult, but it's like regular life here.
Yeah, I think by living here, I mean, I feel like I have a degree in Holocaust studies just by doing my job. I don't, how much I know now and how much I knew before is very different, because people ask me a million questions, and I'm the one they expect, because I live in Poland and I'm a Jewish community person, leader. Then I have to have a certain basic familiarity with the Holocaust. Obviously not a PhD, but yeah, we're still all, the Holocaust is still all around us, and that's a challenge.
That's true.
It's a challenge, challenge here in what we're doing. I'm going to talk a little bit more about education and stuff. I want to talk about your work with the volunteers here, which is also kind of interesting, and education. You're involved in many things, but I want to talk a little bit about, and something I mentioned when I asked you if we could do this. I said I'm interested in this idea of your identity today, contemporary identity as a feminist and as an Orthodox woman. So first of all, you found out you're Jewish, you come to Krakow, you can be as Jew, you didn't, it's not like you grew up as I did in an Orthodox family, or you grew up in a Reform family and you made some change. You kind of came to Judaism, you have a family background, but you could choose any way. In other words, you could be as Jewish as you want as anything. You don't really have so much of the baggage. How did you make the decision to be Jewish in the way that you are being Jewish today?
So it's funny, because when I start my journey, and when I found out that I'm Jewish, I was sure that I will never be Orthodox, because for me, it was like, I grew up without this connection to the Jewish community. So for me, the Orthodox people were like Haredi. So I was like, never, it's like absolutely not my story. And then I found JCC, and I met Rabbi Avi, and I went to Israel, and I saw that, Orthodox Judaism is like, it's not one monolith, it's like different things inside. And I'm also this kind of person that I'm trying, and when I feel that something is absolutely not for me, and it's like, something against me, I'm not doing this. So I decide to do something, step by step. So I start keep Shabbat, keep kosher, etc. And I was trying, and I saw that it's like not difficult for me, and it's like something what is that I feel that it's like absolutely good way, and I feel that it's like something what I want to do. So I think I decide good way. to make this step by step. And this is where I am. I'm Orthodox Jew, but I think a little bit rebelliant here. So I'm not typical Orthodox Jew, because I'm still fighting about this, that we should be part of the minyan, and we should also go to read the Torah. And it's like, it's a little bit more difficult. But I also met a lot of women who are, very open, and they show me that, you can be Shomer Shabbat, but still you can feel that you can fight for yourself when you're a female. So this is like something important for me. And sometimes I see this like, I found this Jewish box, and I put something what, I take out something what was good for me, and I'm trying to find my place with these tools. So yes, so it's sometimes maybe it's a little bit more difficult, because people, and also Jewish people, they look at me and like think, okay, Orthodox Jewish woman, so probably she's crazy. She will not give me a hand. We can't talk about many stuff with her, but it's not the truth. It's like, I think that I'm very open-minded, and I'm not so typical.
Yeah, but so so you decide you're gonna to try Orthodoxy, but you could have tried, you could have started with something else. I'm not suggesting you should have, but I mean, it's sort of like you're saying, okay, I want to explore my Jewish identity, and there are so many different paths you can go. Why and especially that your first thought was like, oh, Orthodoxy, not for me. But although you thought that, and although you could really start anywhere, that was a start. I mean, was it because you met Rabbi Avi, who's Orthodox, and maybe if you would have met a Reform rabbi that would have spoken to you, you could have started on that path? Do you think it was based on the personality, or you think there was something drawing you toward Orthodox Judaism?
So I start from very culture things. So I didn't start from the religious stuff. My way was like very secular, and I start from the secular way. And then met Rabbi Avi, and then I also became observant. But this is a good question, and I don't think so that I have a good answer, because I'm not sure. I'm sure absolutely that I doing what I feel that it's good for me, and I feel this is my way. So I'm trying to find my place, and it's challenging all the time, but still I'm trying.
I think what's interesting is that, I mean, I get to some degree, I guess everyone is trying that, right? We all find levels that we're comfortable with. I'm maybe more observant now than I was, and part of that is marrying somebody who with her background and also went through conversion, so she's more eager to connect to something that's new for her or more new, and yeah, we're all sort of finding our way a little bit. But I think maybe the difference is that when you're coming from your background, in other words, so however independent most of us think we are, there are two things that we do. We're so different from our parents, and our parents, they don't know this, or they don't know how to go online, and blah, blah, blah. People are usually religiously and politically just like their parents. For all that we think we're so rebellious, we usually vote like our parents, and we observe like our parents most of the time. So that being said, I think that you, by kind of coming, that wasn't an option for you. You were choosing something that that your parents weren't observing in any sense, that really. So you had to kind of find your way. So we're all finding our way, but maybe it's easier in some sense, I guess, if you there are no expectations within the religion of you. I was joking before we started that even today I'm 51 years old in a few days. My dad is 85 today, and still he's trying to like, oh, did you like candles? He still wants me to be a certain way. So yeah, it's
like for me it's a different story, because what you said, that my mother is not observant, and I think that she was in shock, huge shock, when I decided to start this journey to the Judaism. And then I remember this first phone call when I called to her and said that I trying to keep Shabbat. It means for us 25 hours without phone. And she told me, you wanna kill me. And she didn't understand how you can not use your phone in 21st century. So it was like a lot of years of not maybe fight, but we're like trying. So right now it's okay, but it was like difficult. And I think for my mother, she accepts, and she said that you're doing what is good for you, but still it's for her it's very difficult to understand this way. And I completely understand her perspective, because she grew up without this connection. So she's this second generation. So I'm not pushing her, and she's trying not to push me. So I think this is like the balance.
Have you found that you have a brother as well? And do you think that you've had an influence in terms of identity on your brother or your mom? I know that they're not involved and not this, but has there been any influence you think your being identifying as a Jew and being an observant Jew has had on them?
So some influence, yes, but for sure not this kind that they trying to be more involved. My brother, he's like, atheist, and he's like, he doesn't want to, and it's okay. This is I decide something, and he decides another thing. So yes, but my mom, I see that sometimes she's like more involved because I'm inside the Jewish community, but still she's like, in these two words, that she's Polish and Jewish, and for her generation sometimes it's difficult. I think for my generation it's easier to be Jewish, Polish, and you have more identities. So like some kind of influence, yes, but not so huge that they are involved in the Jewish community. Yeah, but they understand, this is what I was asking, that they understand that I decide something, and I'm doing this because I feel that I want to do it for myself.
Right. I think also not only in terms of involvement, because you have involvement and you have identity. So I in terms of not that they feel a need to be more involved, but there's a question of does your activity make them feel, wait a minute, she's doing all of these things and I don't feel, that doesn't call to me, I don't feel the need to do that, but maybe it makes me feel that that's part of my identity as well, although I don't feel like doing it.
I think that because of me, my family members start talking about this, about the Jewish history of our family, and maybe they understand that they're Jewish, but for their many perspectives, that they understand that they have Jewish roots, but they don't feel that they are Jewish. So this is a little bit funny, but in my Jewish family, I can say that I'm officially one Jew. And it's like I'm doing this also to remember, our past, like past of my family, and to be this messenger, or this who's like giving this message to the next generation. So I'm collecting all informations and doing this to remember, because I don't want to forget about this, about our Jewish and not only Jewish history. So still I'm making a research about our family, and it's like something what I'm doing to keep this for the next generation. So I hope so that one day my nephew or my cousin's son will come and ask something more.
Or your children.
Or my children.
I sound like your parent.
Yeah.
But many of your peers, I would say most of your peers who have a similar background, they found out at a certain point they were Jewish, or they whatever background, don't pursue Judaism the way that you do it. In other words, they're not as observant. You're more observant, not than everybody, you're not so observant, but in our little world here in Krakow, you're more observant than most of your friends. So
that's true.
Why do you think that is? I understand why you are. You very, very eloquently and really beautifully explained your sense of responsibility, that you're finding a place. I think really fascinating to me the way you've explained it. But other people are sort of not really doing it so much. Why? Do you have an idea why they don't as much as you do?
I have no idea, really. And maybe it's something that, for me personally, I'm not talking about general, like for me, that I understand that my family lost something, and maybe this is like I'm more involved in some things because I know what it means to lost something, and how it feels when you are cut, from the world of the Jewish community and the Jewish world. So maybe because of this, I'm more involved, but absolutely, I have no idea. And few times happened to me that people ask me why. And I said, like, I have no idea, but sometimes, you feel in your life that you are it's your time and it's a good place and this is exactly what you should do. And it was for me. And it's very difficult to explain. And I'm not sure that I understand this completely, what's going on.
Yeah, maybe you don't need to understand. If you're doing something that feels good for you, then there you go. I mean, that's pretty much it. You're probably ahead of most people who are doing things and don't know why or understand or necessarily feel good about it. But so it's just interesting. But you're not only a young Orthodox Shomer Mitzvot, Shomer Shabbat woman, you're also a feminist. You clearly call yourself a feminist. So what does it mean? First of all, what does it mean to you to say I'm a feminist? What does that mean?
That I should have the same rights like men. So we are equal. I'm not talking about biological stuff because all the time I hear that yes, but we are different. Of course, but still, when we are human beings and we are living in the same country, we should have the same rights, and I should have the same right to education, to work. And this is what's happening right now in Poland. It's like very difficult for me and for my friends. And this is what I don't understand, what people, they want to decide what we women want to do with our bodies. And this is our decision. I think that's like very private decision. I think that people know about what happened in Poland right now with the strikes, the women's strike. Yeah. And we're fighting for the rights to decide about ourselves. So I never understood how one person can decide for the under thousands what they should do.
Well, I think that's the way, but this is the way the things have been. In other words, there's something that's existed throughout history, this patriarchal society. So understanding it means saying it's how it's been. So if I'm a man and I benefit from this society, then it's very clear we're not starting out from zero and building a society. We have a society. I'm benefiting from it as a man. So I want to, on some level, acknowledge or not acknowledge, but some part of me wants to continue benefiting because I have been. So, I mean, it's not, I think, it's understandable. It's not fair or okay, but I think there's an understandable aspect of why there's this sort of push. But you touched upon some interesting things because I not only, I want to talk about you and, being a feminist, but being an Orthodox feminist. And you said you don't understand how certain people can make decisions for you and for your body and what you're able to do, yet you are an Orthodox woman who almost all the decisions that you are making as an Orthodox Jew, in other words, where you stand, how you pray, which prayers you say, what this means, what that means, all of these decisions throughout history, almost all of them have been made by men on behalf of men and on behalf of women. So how do you see that? When you walk into an Orthodox synagogue on Saturday, and I understand we're in Krakow, we're not in New York City where there are 1,000 different, and I'm sure you would find the exact one, but here where you are, do you feel comfortable in an Orthodox synagogue that you can't fully participate as a woman?
So because I can't be like a full participant, no. Right. And this is like, very hard sometimes, but I feel good in our synagogue, and still, the Isaac show. So there is like this woman's balcony, and sometimes where we had the groups, there was open also for groups. I never went there because I never want to be, separate like this. I can be in the same room on the same level. So I all the time choosing the same room with the mechitza, and people like also like how you can pray with mechitza. And this is like, something also important for me, that mechitza is also for me, that I can be more focused on the prayer when I don't see what's going on the under part. So it's not only working for men, what many people think, that's only for men, but from my perspective, it's also for me, for myself, you know, that I'm not looking, you know, from the second side, but I'm still focused on what I'm doing. But also, you know, many people asking me how you can be Orthodox, going to the synagogue and still be feminist. And, you know, it's very easy to say that you need to change something when you see something from outside, but you only telling something, you know, you can recommend something, but when you are inside, you can change something, you know, because you are inside and you have influence for the people around you. So I think in Orthodox world, it's like, you know, it's not the fast way of changing. It's slowly, but still you need to do step by step, and we're changing. And I remember when I was on Limud in UK, and I was in it's called partnership minyan. I'm not sure if I could remember the name. That's women and men.
Egalitarian.
That's like it's mechiza, but also men and women are like they are.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Egalitarian, like equal, from the word equal, like
yeah,
yeah.
With the mechiza, and it was like absolutely amazing feeling, because you know I had this feeling that next day on Shabbat morning I need to go to the synagogue because they need people for minyan, and it's like something, you know, that you feel that you need to do something, and it's like amazing when you have this power that you can change something, because for example you are inside the synagogue, so they have a minyan, so it's something absolutely amazing. So I not expect that. Yes, so I not expect that would happen in Krakow, but still I can do everything what I can to feel good in synagogue and to try to change the world, my small sometimes work, but still.
So in your so it's not that you accept these issues in Judaism of the women not being called to the Torah and women not being counted in a minyan. For you, that you don't accept that, but you want to make those changes from inside.
Yes, and still maybe I don't have this feeling that I need to go and read from the Torah, but still I think that if any woman in synagogue wants, they should. Right. And this is, you know, big discussion, and you know for sure that it's a long discussion with a lot of men about this issue, but I'm working on it.
I'm sure you are, Olga. So I want to tell you something, but you don't mind the mechitza.
No, because for me it's also helpful, you know, when I'm praying.
I have a story for you about the mechitza. So when I was little, I didn't like, as everybody knows who knows me, the Orthodox wasn't really for me. But sometimes I would go to synagogue with my father, who went to the modern Orthodox synagogue on Saturday. So, but I would generally go with my friends to the conservative one. So the conservative, we sat together with the girls, and the Orthodox, of course, the women were on the sides, and we sat in the middle on the ground. The women were up and on the sides. So I will tell you, when I sat with the girls, I couldn't care less about the girls. If I'm sitting next to a girl, 3 seats over was a girl, and I was 10, 12, 13, I liked a girl, whatever. I like this one, that one, interesting. Oh, look what she's wearing. When I was sitting with the girls, I paid no attention to the girls. When I couldn't sit, the moment I couldn't sit with the girls and the girls were removed on the side up, all I did was sit there the whole service looking for girls and staring, and where were the girls? So for me, the mechitza had the exact opposite effect. The moment I wasn't around all the girls, all I wanted to do was look at the girls.
So this is the reason why everyone should make this decision for themselves, because for me it's opposite. So yeah, and I like mechitza, but I absolutely understand when people like women don't like, you know, when it's around. And also very depends how big is mechitza, you know, sometimes like huge wall and sometimes it's smaller. So it's also, you know, under story, but absolutely understand.
It's very difficult in the system. And in other words, the system that we're talking about here is essentially controlled by men, right? The rabbis who are making these decisions are not women rabbis and men rabbis, they're men. People in a position of power very rarely, and I don't mean in terms of religion, and I don't mean in terms of Judaism, I mean throughout history, people very rarely give up power that they have. Very rarely. it doesn't happen. And when it does happen, it's a rare, amazing thing, and there's pressure that makes it happen. And it usually there has to be some, that's why we have revolutions in history, because normal peaceful changes don't happen that often, whether within a society or in a larger sense. So it's interesting. How do you see, what do you think is going to happen? Your granddaughter is going to be an Orthodox woman living in Krakow or Tel Aviv or New York or London, God forbid Warsaw, not Warsaw, but anywhere else she's allowed to live. You have a granddaughter or a great granddaughter who wants to be an Orthodox Jewish woman. What do you think her life is going to be like 3 generations now, 70 years from now, let's say?
Who said that should be Orthodox?
I'm just saying, if she's not Orthodox, then we don't have there's no issue.
Yeah, but I hope so, and I see this changing, that she will have right to be called rabbi when she will finish her studies, and she will decide. So this is what's changing, you know. Like we start the women education, like Jewish women education, not so far many years ago, you know. It's like it's not a long story, and right now we have women who are going to the yeshiva, and they finish it, this yeshiva, and they have the same education like the men. So I think it's changing, and of course we're not talking about the ultra-Orthodox Judaism, but we're talking about other groups, and I think it will change. And also because, you know, when I'm in synagogue and there's a lot of groups inside, I can see how it works for the men and for women. And from my part of the Mechitza, I see that because girls and women, they don't have so much influence in the prayer, they don't feel that they need to do something. They're not focused because they don't understand, you know. It's like, and this is, you know, for me very heartbreaking, because they don't feel that they are part of the community inside the synagogue. So I think we need to understand that when you give them more power to women, it doesn't mean that they will stop being, you know, observant, but maybe they will be more involved. So
no question.
Yeah, so this is like, you know, what we need to think about this. And this is what I see when I'm in synagogue. And before the pandemic time, I was a lot of women inside the synagogue. So yeah, this is, you know, what I saw.
But not all, sorry. So what's interesting to me, not all Orthodox women, though, think the way that you do. There are some, and so what's interesting to me, and in other words, people that I know, and probably in my world, the people that I know aren't so much like this, but women that feel that women shouldn't have choice in terms of abortion, right? There obviously, clearly there are. In the United States, women voted for Donald Trump, but you know, this is part of the world. But it's hard, I think, it's very hard for, when I talk with my wife, with Kasha, it's hard for her even to understand how women can sort of do things that she feels are against other women, or not believe that women should have this choice. Is it hard for you to understand when Orthodox women are like, oh yeah, I shouldn't be part of a minyan, or I shouldn't be able to read from the Torah, or I shouldn't be able to be fully a rabbi? And is it something that is strange for you, or you just feel, they have their different point of view than me?
I think the second option, because I was lucky that I grew up with my family, and you know, I had this under experience, and I also understand if you're growing up in the very Orthodox home, sometimes it's difficult to catch another perspective, and something is very obvious, you know, that if you're a woman, so this is your life, you know, you met your husband, then you have a children, and I'm not against this, because this is your perspective. So if it's your perspective like this, it's okay, but this is mine, and I want to do something more, and to have more influence for my life and what I'm doing, and what is my decision. So still, you know, when you're doing something, I think it should be your decision. So I'm also this kind of person, and I think that my friends agree with me, that I'm Shomer Shabbat and I keep kosher, but I'm not pushing anyone from my friends. And what you said at the beginning, they mostly are not religious, that they should do something like this. I'm not, and this is their own decision. I made my decision,
Right.
and it was
So
good
that
for me. And if they don't feel this is good for them, it's absolutely okay, because it's the worst thing to push someone that they should do something what is against the
yes.
persons.
Are you listening, Dad? Dad, are you listening to what Olga said? It's not good to push somebody. Thank you, Olga. I hope my dad
You're
is
welcome.
listening. My dad is listening.
Yeah, this is
no,
like, you know, what I see.
Of course. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that it's a very nice situation. And there have been many instances that they, you know, to find this balance, just watching from the outside, how they keep a little kosher part for you and this, and, you know, things to be able to be mindful that it's not, you know, that people are mindful of someone who has the Orthodox needs, and someone who's Orthodox is also mindful that, wait a minute, the whole world doesn't have to be this way because that's my need. And I think that here in our little community, and you with your friends and stuff, I think have a very nice balance. And that's something nice for me to see. It's nice to watch from the outside. I want to talk.
And I also have very good friends, so this is also another thing.
Absolutely. And your good friends, Jewish and non-Jewish, were also, when you lived there, I remember you lived with all of these non-Jewish women, and were incredibly respectful and so interested in everything Jewish, which is really interesting. I want to talk about a couple more things, though. I could talk to you about this all day, Olga. It's very interesting to me. I want to ask you, because you're very involved in educational things beyond your own PhD studies and beyond your work at the JCC, which I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about. I want to talk about Mifgash. I want to talk about what you're doing. You have this amazing program for years and years, this foundation that you're a founder of and very involved with still, of educating non-Jewish Poles, students, essentially, children, high school students and middle school or whatever. Yeah, and I think maybe also you do it for university students, maybe not with Mifgash, but have done that. Talk to me a little bit about this, what you're doing to educate non-Jews. Why do they want, what do you teach them? In other words, you sit down with a class, and explain the structure a little bit and what you're doing, how many people are involved in what you're doing, and is there a huge desire from the non-Jewish side to learn about Jewish things?
Yes, it's a huge desire. So our foundation, Mifgash Foundation, exists for the last 11 years. And we start with the meetings with Israeli teenagers. And then we understood that Polish kids, they need to learn more about Jews. So this is how it starts. And then we established the program for the schools, like primary schools and for the high schools. And we start with the basic program about history and about culture. And like, you know, after all these years, we have a lot of lectures that schools can, you know, choose, and we go in there for free to teach. And it's like you can choose the topic. And we sometimes can, you know, do a special lecture for your group. It depends what you want. And of course, right now it's like a break because schools are closed and we're not going. But it was a lot of interest about these lectures, and people were calling that they want to invite us. And we were giving a lecture about Holocaust, and it was Holocaust in pop culture, Holocaust, the story of Holocaust, how it happened. And it was like about March 68. So something is what we add because we didn't have this in schools, and we didn't touch the topic about March 68 from the Jewish perspective. So we add to our program. And then we have also a lecture about Israel. We have lecture about basic Judaism, you know. So it's a lot of lectures, and this is, you know, when I'm going and I'm asking for example, kids what they think when I said Jew, mostly they think about Holocaust and Jesus. So this is, you know, under thinking that we Jesus, yes.
Oh,
and Holocaust, yeah.
I thought they would say Jesus was Polish. I didn't know that in Poland they know he was Jewish. That's good.
Some kids knows they know that he was Jewish, and it's like also another thing that we, like Jews, who are so focused about Holocaust that also other people see us like, you know, Jews. It means Holocaust, nothing more. So we're giving these lectures, and kids, you know, they sometimes they don't understand, you know, the Jewish culture because they don't have, like, you know, this chance to touch the culture. To understand what's going on. So this is important for me and for other educators, so which we have, that we're going and we're showing something what they also can touch. So I'm, you know, using everything what I have. You know, showing them kippa, towels, tzitzit, mezuzah, that they can touch and they see that, it exists. And this is one thing. And a few years ago, we also decided to start another program. And it was a program for teachers and for the informal educators, because we saw that we can go to the schools, but still we need to educate teachers, because they have they are all the time with the kids. So we start the program Aleph Bet of Jewish Culture, and it's like the basic program about Jewish culture, nothing about Holocaust. Mm-hmm. And we want to show, what it means that, that Jews are not the monolith, that we are different because we are Ashkenazi, we are Sephardic, you can be Orthodox, you can be Reform, you can be secular. What it means that you are Jewish, So we have a lot of lectures that we're trying to explain this very complicated culture, and trying to show them, what it means, that maybe they will be better for their their students, when they were trying to explain them Jews, because I think that we also in Poland we are very focused about the history and about the Jews before the war, during the war, and maybe this period just after the war, but we're not talking about culture. And this is like a huge problem. And then, kids understand that Jews means Holocaust, so we're trying to change this.
Absolutely. People ask me always, oh, do they teach about the Holocaust in Poland? And I say, yeah, they do a pretty good job about teaching of the 6 years of the Holocaust, and they do not such a good job of teaching of the 994 years that aren't about the Holocaust. And we try to do that here, and you're doing that. But you're also involved in a way, professionally, you work here at the JCC, you've been here for a while. You're, an amazing part of our team here, and you are in charge of the volunteers. And one of the most fascinating things, I go around and talk, and you do, and I do. We talk to so many people from all around the world, and one of the things that they're most surprised by, young Jews finding out they're Jewish in Poland, great. Non-Jews that are so fascinated, as you talk about with the, through the Mifkash program that you're meeting with, you're in charge of all these volunteers as the volunteer coordinator, whether it's 70 or 50 or during the festival, 7 at night, 100. However, you know better than anybody, and there's a question that I just want to ask you, and very, very quickly, because we're almost finished. Sure. Why do all these young non-Jewish Poles, most of the vast majority, 95% of them not Jewish, give us a couple reasons. Why do they want to be volunteers at the JCC? Not only they're volunteering at the festival, other places, but your volunteers that you're responsible for, why are they volunteers here?
So first, I want to say that hello to all my superheroes, because they are my superheroes. I think that they're interested about Jewish culture. Some of them, they're studying Jewish studies, and some of them, they're interested about Israel. And they are from the Middle studies, the Middle East studies. So it's interest about the culture, not maybe about religious stuff, but about culture and history. And some of them, they come in because they want to, meet like the community today, because they heard about Jews before the war, how it was in Krakow, but they see that it's like Jewish community in Krakow, and they want to, meet this community and understand how it works. So I think it's like different reasons why they're coming. But they're very involved, and absolutely they're amazing. So I'm waiting when they will come back to JCC, that I can hug them, because I miss them, all of them.
I was about to say, I think you really miss them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
Just like amazing people, absolutely amazing people.
It is. It really is one of the most surprising things. If you told me, standing on one foot, living in Poland for 20 years, what has surprised you? I would say this amount, these people who have so much interest and care and love, and it's not always fun, 11 o'clock at night, Friday night, picking up, spilled, chicken from the floor of the thing. It's not always, sometimes it's fun, but it's not always fun. And it's amazing to me that they do that as volunteers. It's really Absolutely. Something that the Jewish, we should really recognize them and be very proud of them. And you do yes. you do a great job with them. Olga, tell me, as we're finishing up, I have to ask you, latke or hamantash?
Latke.
Yes, Latka is.
Of course.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think Latka has absolutely kicked Hamintash's ass this year, 2020. And what are your 3 favorite movies, Olga?
I'm ready. So the first one is Waterloo Bridge. It's a very old movie from
Water
1940.
Over the Bridge?
Waterloo Bridge.
Oh, Waterloo Bridge, okay.
Yes, in Polish it's like a pożegnalny waltz. Another one is Come September. It's from 60s, I think. And the third one, I think, will be Cabaret.
The Cabaret with Joel Grey and Liza Minnelli?
Of course.
Okay. Olga, I like your list. Olga, thank you very much for this. We miss you. I can't wait for things to get back to normal. You've been absolutely fascinating, Olga, and I have to tell you, really, one of the more interesting times I've had on the AMA was talking to you. I've known you for, I don't know, 12 years, and I know you a little bit. We know each other pretty well, but I've learned a lot. It's been fascinating for me, and thank you for that, and thank you for, I feel like, I talk to somebody like you, and I think that we're doing something good.
Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New
Year.
And
see you soon, I hope so.
See you very, very soon. Be well. Happy New Year, Olga. Take care of yourself. Stay safe and well.
Thank you.
Be well, everybody. Happy New Year. See you next week. See you next year.